PERFORMA heroes, welcome to the PERFORMA POPcast. I'm your host, Peter Sers, and you guys, I'm very excited to bring you, we just had so many amazing guests on this show so far, and we've got another one for you. Before we start, grab a tissue, guys, because there might be some tears involved. My next guest, after going from fit to fat, Scott McDermott built a 15,000 square foot gym in the year 2002. He wrote a book called If Your Body Were a Car, You Wouldn't Treat It This Way, which I love. Scott entered triathlon in 2005, and in November 2015, he competed in the Ultraman World Championships in Hawaii, but then he crashed his bike, breaking his shoulder, his ribs, his arms, broke his skull, and he almost died. He's made a remarkable recovery, and you can watch it, the whole story, on the new documentary, Living the Warrior's Code. And obviously with COVID, Scott was forced to shut down his gym in 2020. And now he's kind of refocused everything into speaking and coaching. And we're very glad to have him with us. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Scott McDermott. Hello, sir.
Woo. Hey, Peter.
Okay, so we were talking off air, but yes, I just watched Warrior's Code, and I cried a lot of times, and you did too. Okay, so first of all, let's go back to the beginning, because like I said, I'm sure I don't want to cry just yet. So, what made you get into doing triathlons? Because that's, triathlons is one thing, and then we obviously evolved into doing Ultraman. So, what was the first kind of like, I want to do the triathlon?
Well, and it literally started that simply. And it's funny, in the intro, you said I went from fit to fat, which I actually did. I went from fat to fit,
I'm sorry,
and then fit to fat. No, it's funny.
I read it wrong.
No, it was actually funny because I actually did both, right? I went from fat to fit, and then I went from fit to fat, and then back to fit again. I just thought that was kind of funny, and I thought I'd bug you a little, but
damn it.
It's all good. That's the fun thing about recording these things live. There's no perfection. But you know what? Literally in my small town of Sylvan Lake, there was a half Ironman triathlon that was put on in town.
Okay.
2004. And so a half Ironman, it's a 1.9 kilometer swim, and then a 90 kilometer bike and half marathon. So like in American, like a 1.2 mile swim, like a 42 mile bike, and then a half marathon.
Okay. Thank you for translating, because
yeah.
I'm a stupid American that doesn't know how to convert.
It's just two systems, right? It's like America and the rest of the world. But anyway, I had to bug you. So I saw that and I thought, I wonder if I could finish something like that. Like, I couldn't swim. Like I couldn't swim lengths, or I'd never swam open water. I can not drown for chunks of time. Like I can swim, but I couldn't.
Right.
And I thought, well, whatever. And I was a spin class instructor in a gym, like, cause I own a gym. And I thought, well, I can ride the hell out of an indoor bike for an hour. I mean, I think with a little bit of training, I could handle 3 hours. And then, I used to run in high school before I broke my back. And,
but you broke your back in high school?
I did. Yeah. A gymnastics accident. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Crushed the tops and bottoms of 3 lower vertebrae and cracked 1 1/2. I don't recommend that.
No.
Yeah, that sucked a lot. But, so of course I didn't do a lot of sports for a long time and then that's what led to getting fat and sick in the 90s, sitting at a desk all day. And, then I got fit and healthy and my back pain went away. So I thought, well, I think I could learn to run again. So I thought I'd give it a shot, and hired a coach, and I trained for 10 months. And by God, if I wasn't 8th in my age category, like I just crushed it. I had a heck of a race, and I was just 100% addicted. And 5 weeks later, I did my first full Ironman at Ironman Canada, which wasn't
you say 5 weeks later?
Yeah. I doubled all of my training distances and did a full Iron 5 weeks later.
Oh my God. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, and myself included, an Ironman is I know it's like 2 marathons is the run, right?
Nope, not quite. That's an Ultraman.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. So Ironman is a 2.4 mile swim, and then it's a 112 mile bike, and then it's a 26.2 mile marathon.
Oh, a marathon. Okay.
Right.
Got it.
So in Canadian, it's a 3.8K swim, 180K bike, and a 42K run. So
Got it.
that's an Ironman. So I did one of those 5 weeks later, and then I was just 100% hooked. And so I did a whole bunch of those. And then I moved to Ultraman, which is a 6 mile, 10K swim, 426K bike, which I think is 275 miles, and then a 52 mile double marathon.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
it really is. Like, here's the thing. So I don't know what you know about me, but I'm a big workout person too, and I love, like, I'm sure you're familiar with like guys like David Goggins and stuff like that. Love that, makes me want to do things. I watched you and watched the movie, or even just any Iron Man, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's the one thing. Like, I look, challenge myself. I'm in the gym 2 hours a day, probably sometimes more than that. And I have no desire at all, but I have the utmost respect for, people that do that, because it's a different, essentially, and I mean this in the best way, but you guys are kind of crazy.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
No, it's true. But that's the fun thing about fitness, is there's levels of crazy, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like I had a trainer at my gym that was an IFBB pro, and I won't get too far into it, but I would never want to live that life.
Yeah, we've had some bodybuilders on the show, and same thing. It's like, I don't want to do that either. I just
I think like you look amazing, and I love that you do the Mr. Olympia and the Miss Olympia, and I love that you love that. It's just not my jam.
Right.
Right? So, which is cool. That's the fun thing, is there's the variety, right? It's like a smorgasbord. You get to pick and choose. Oh, I think I'll do obstacle course racing. I think I'll do endurance. I think I'll pick up a house. I think I'll, like you can pick and choose, right?
Yeah, exactly. Look, let me ask you a question. So when you did your first, like when you started this whole journey, triathlon, how young were you?
My first was a sprint distance triathlon in 2005. So I would have been 36? Okay.
So not a spring chicken.
Nope.
But still like a lot of life ahead, obviously, but it's not. So so by the time you're in your mid 40s, almost 50s, when you're doing Ultraman at that point.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's hope yet. As I get older, I can still do amazing things. That's great. I love 100%.
it. I'm signed up to race again to Ultraman World Championships this year. I've been accepted in the race again for November, and I'm turning 52 in a month.
Wow.
So yeah. Mural Krieger, who's a Slovenian military guy, he won Ultraman World Championships at age 51.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like a lot of these, like, a lot of these ultra guys and like these super high endurance athletes, like they really start to hit their peak, a little bit older than, like, say, a baseball player or someone, like, whereas like 50, you're not playing baseball anymore.
No, that's right.
But
yeah, for 100%. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Like, as we age, our mitochondria becomes more efficient at processing oxygen and fat as a fuel source, and we become more efficient. And there's a point where that diminishes.
Right.
But when you're in your 20s, you're not any good at ultra distance. You're just not, right? You're good at, like 10K run.
Right.
Right. But you're not good at 100K run. Your body's just not efficient yet. So if you look at all the best ultra distance runners, they're all in their 30s and 40s, right? Okay. And there's an economics to it as well, right? Because you need to train a lot. Like, to train for an Ultraman, I train 20 to 30 hours a week. Well, if you're brand new in your career and you're brand new to a family and you're brand new to owning a house, you're not training 30 hours a week. Right. So you need to be established. So there's an economic part of it too.
So that was going to be kind of one of my questions. So we can just ask. So how does that work? Like, because obviously I know you're a business owner and stuff. Do you just hire a bunch of people and, like, all right, take care of this while I'm training, or is it just like extra stress involved, or like how does that work? Because that's what when I was watching you, training, and you were like, you went somewhere for like a month leading up into the thing, and I'm like, okay, I do stand up, so it's a little bit different for me, but even still, like, I couldn't just be gone for a month,
Yeah, it's a huge piece of it. One is, like, when I ran my gym, I had a phenomenal team, right? So I had 5 managers that worked for me. So when I would leave, all I had to do was on my laptop coordinate the managers.
Got it.
And then they would coordinate the team of the 27 staff and manage
Okay.
everything. So you have to have a team in place. But even as far as your family goes, like I'm not gonna lie to you, it's really friggin' hard.
Yeah.
You know, you're up at 5 a.m. to go to the pool, to swim for 3 hours before work at 9, right? And then you work, and then at lunch you do a run or something, or you'll come home and then have supper and do a little bit of late night work, and then put my son to bed and whatever. And then at 10 o'clock, climb on the bike for an hour and a half till 11:30, and then go to bed at midnight and do it over again. Like it's just hard.
That sounds like not enough sleep, Scott.
There was a lot of that, actually. Very guilty of not enough sleep. It's hard. It really is.
Yeah.
It's one of the single hardest components, especially, you get into the thick of the training, and my Saturday bike rides are 6, 7, 8 hours long. Like it's just a lot, right?
Right.
You really need to be committed, like any sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, like, is that where like people at certain point they start looking for sponsors and stuff like that, because it is easier to kind of have not the pressure of like, okay, well, I'm training for this thing, but I also have a job or responsibilities, like, so let me get sponsors so then they can help me, and then I can just focus on training. Is that kind of how that works?
Yeah, for sure. And it's harder and harder to get sponsors. I mean, I was really lucky. PERFORMA came on pretty early to help me out. PERFORMA was amazing, huge sponsor for the film. And the owner of the company was really great to help take the edge off quite a few different things. And then, of course, my company itself, because I'm a gym, I
Right.
could justify putting sponsorship dollars towards myself. But then
That's
anything
great.
else, like Hammer Nutrition, or Rudy Project, like they would sponsor. Like Rudy would give me a helmet, which is cool. You can't eat it. It doesn't feed the family, but it's a $200 helmet I didn't have to buy. So you know
Right.
what? Right on. So, and Ultra Running Shoes gave me a discount on shoes, which, hey, great, I'll take it. Right. So yeah, sponsorship, it's tougher. I don't know. Maybe there are people that were more successful than I was. I found that to be a real challenge, trying to get sponsorship.
I'm watching, and I'm sorry, we'll go back and forth, but like I'm watching this documentary, and you have like a team, which that was something that for me, like obviously, like I said, never had any interest in doing an ultra or anything, but like seeing how like you guys all have like a team, and so I'm looking at like okay, well, there's 5 or 6 people you have helping you. That's got to cost money, and
Yep.
where does that come from? And then what do those people do for their jobs? Like, and so it's like but it was really cool to see like the community aspect of it. Like everybody's team is helping each other and stuff. But like, how does that work?
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I promised my athlete, or my athlete team, my crew, my Ohana, is that, hey, look, I'm gonna bust my butt and save money, and I'm gonna, I did some crowdfunding and whatever I had to do, but basically I'm gonna pay for the accommodations in Kona, and I'm going to pay for your jerseys, and I'm going to pay for your food, the van rental, and the gas. So really all you have to pay for is your flight there. And then it's a vacation,
Right.
and then 3 or 4 days of it are really friggin' hard work, but it is a vacation in a sense,
Okay.
but it's a lot to ask, but it's such a rich experience. Like
Yeah.
it's so fun to do that race with your buddies. Like when you come home from having done an Ironman, and your buddy's like, "How was the race?" And you try to describe it, they're like, "Oh, that sounds interesting." And they don't get it, right? It's like, I don't know, it sounds weird. And if you look at, my wife sees me, I give her a peck on the cheek in the morning, and then I blend with a couple thousand other guys in black rubber suits. You don't know who I am anymore. And then I jump in the lake or the ocean, and I come
Right.
back, an hour later, and maybe you see me in transition, get on my bike, and then I'm gone for 5.5 hours. And if you
Right.
drive somewhere through the crowds, and maybe you see me for a second, yeah, there he was. And then well, you just hang out for a few hours, and then I'm on the marathon. Now the marathon, at least I'm slower moving, so you can watch me trot by and
Uh-huh.
see me a couple times. But in a 10, 11 hour race, my wife at an Ironman might see me for maybe 3 minutes all in.
Got
Right.
it.
It's just, and even your buddies, if they come to watch you, they don't even get to see you. But when you're an Ultraman and they're on your crew, they get to see you the whole 3 days. And it was amazing because my 2 best friends were on my crew. And the first one I did, the first World Championships in 2013. And it was really richly rewarding as an athlete, as a friend, as a person, to have, your two best buddies see the hell that you go through because they just had no idea. Like they just had no clue. Like I get motion sick. And so the ocean swim is one of the hardest things for me. And I remember.
Oh, so is that why you throw up?
Yeah. I get motion sick
Oh,
just all the time. Right.
okay.
So
I don't know if I missed it in the film, but I remember them saying like every time he swims, he throws up, but
yeah. No, I just, ever since I was a little kid, you put me in the backseat of a car, I'm puking. That's just the way of it. So, you know, I'm taking Gravol and whatever to try and get through the swim, but I've never managed. In 2013, I swam for 5 hours and threw up for 3 of those.
Oh God.
It was awful. And so then I crawl out of the ocean an hour and a half late from my usual swim time. Right. And the guys were like, you know, what are we going to do? And so we were straight lining Coca-Cola and bananas to get my body back in gear. And I rallied back to I think I made the cutoff on day 1 in 2013 by like 12 minutes or something, but it was one of the single hardest things I've ever had to do. And my buddies were witness to a human being going to the depths of hell,
right,
and not quit. And it's amazing, as hard as that was, it's amazing to share that experience and then to get up the next day and go, okay, let's bike ride for 12 hours, you know, or
right.
I guess it was 9.5 or 10 or whatever. And then the next day you get up again and you can hardly walk, but it's like, well, let's run a double marathon in 100-degree heat on a black asphalt highway with
lava around you and whatnot. Okay. Now, so this is something that's come up, you know, I'm super into health and fitness, and this is and I listen to a lot of like, you know, a lot of podcasts like these and whatever. Like I like being inspired. This has come up a lot recently, and I guess I kind of get it, but like a lot of athletes, especially like endurance athletes like yourself, talk about like that post, like you just talked about drinking Coke, like, right. And so is it just about the sugar, or is there something in Coke that's like, because this is like the 3rd or 4th time that this has come up in an interview that I've listened to, or now that I'm getting to conduct, but is it just the sugar, or like what else is it about Coke specifically?
It's magic.
I mean,
it literally is. It's rocket fuel. So here's the thing. When a human body is under stress and heat and pressure, like when you're racing to the depths in heat and in endurance, stuff like that, basically your body has decisions to make. It needs to prioritize blood flow to the working muscles, right? In this case, your legs. And so that means there's no blood flow for digestion. So it downregulates digestion, right? It downregulates stomach acidity. It reprioritizes, right? The only problem is you're racing long enough that you need fuel.
Right.
So if you put fuel in to a stomach that is downregulated and not digesting food, now you're bloated and you're puking and you're not getting any of the fuel. Well, the fascinating thing about Coke or Pepsi, I don't care which one.
We'll go Coke.
Yeah, Coke, whatever. I don't drink. I never drink the stuff.
Right. Which is
unless
funny,
I'm racing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a health food. So I never do. But it has the same acidity as stomach acid. Really? So it replicates stomach acid. Plus, it's loaded with glucose, pure sugar, the easiest form of fuel there is, period. Right. And it's got caffeine, which delays onset muscle soreness and improves metabolism temporarily. So it's the 1, 2, 3 punch. It helps me digest the banana that I'm having next. Right. It helps me get a little caffeine hit, and it feeds me pure sugar. Like, so, and it's rocket fuel. Like, it's just, it keeps you going.
Like I said, it's come up. I was listening to the guy, I forget, I'm sorry for forgetting your name, but the guy who he's won like the CrossFit Open a bunch of times.
Matt Fraser?
Yeah, there you go. And he's like, when he's competing, he'll have like Coke and Snickers. And I'm like, what, dude, I wouldn't touch those things. And then like David Goggins, it's the same thing. And it's like, there's gotta be something to it. And I knew that the sugar had to do something with it, but the stomach acidity is something that makes complete sense. And then caffeine, obviously, you know, if you're into pre-workout like I am, it's, you know, same thing, but you know, that's one of the main ingredients in most pre-workouts is caffeine. So that makes sense, man. That's awesome. Okay. So first of all, how many of these have you done? Like how many ultras, Ironmans have you done?
I've done 7 Ironmans and 4 ultras. I did Ultraman Canada 2011, then I did Worlds 13, Crash 15, did it again 18. So
Wow, and that's amazing, man. Uh, so okay, so now we're gonna get to that. So 2015, you're making really good time, and this is the ultra, right? They were in Hawaii. You got your now. This is the thing that I think I kind of got, and like I said, I might have missed it, but you were filming it in 2015 just to document it, right?
correct. We just thought it'd be neat because it's this little race nobody's heard of, right?
Right.
So everybody knows Ironman. And like if you go to Ironman World Championships in Kona, Hawaii, there's helicopters everywhere. There's 10,000 people on Kona. There's 6 different news networks. Whereas Ultraman, there's only 40 people invited in the world. There's no prize money. There's no TV coverage. There's
no prize money.
None. You get a t-shirt and a medal.
So you just do it to be like, yo, I did it. That's it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
I love it.
So yeah. I go back to my previous statement. You guys are all crazy.
We pay a lot of money to do it.
Even more crazy. Okay.
Yeah. You're like, well, that's a nice medal. You're like, you damn right. That's a $10,000 medal. Yeah. You can get them for $3, right? But this one you can't. Yeah.
Okay. So 40 people. And that's the one where you have to complete an event to qualify to get into this event, right? So you can't, like, I can't just sign up for it, which I wouldn't want to do, but I couldn't do it. I had to prove myself, right?
That's right. You'd have to complete an iron distance minimum event under a certain time to prove that you've got the training to finish the event. So
and then with that, I mean, I'm sure that more than 40 people apply, just only 40 people get in. So they have to do they have
year to year, you never know, right?
Okay, right.
It might be 60 apply, it might be 70, it might be 24.
Got it. Okay.
It changes every year. Yeah.
Got it.
Some years it doesn't fill, most years it does, and they cut it at 40. You just never know. There's a lot of different situations. Like I know this year for November, they didn't fill because of COVID, right? There's a lot of people that can't travel, can't afford to. There's all that kind of stuff. I still don't know how I'm going to afford it. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge later. But in 2013 was my first World Championships. And like in 2011, I was 6th overall at Ultraman Canada. I had a 27-hour race. It was great. I was 20 minutes from second place and just had the race of my life. And then I took a year off because my wife and I had our son. Katie. And then I was driving her nuts. So she let me race again. So I went to the Worlds in 2013 and cashed in my free access because I had placed so well in Canada. And I did the Worlds and I was 21st in the world. And I think I was 31 and a half hours or something. And I thought, this is really great, but Hawaii was so overwhelming to me. I think I can come back in 2015 and really do well. And I just thought it'd be really fun to film that, like just some regular guy. Cause I don't look like a triathlete. Like I'm 200 pounds, I'm 5'10", I'm stocky legs. I got a long back and really thick legs, right? Like I don't look like a triathlete. Like I'm standing on the line against guys that are $140, $150, right? So I outweigh everybody by 50, 60 pounds. So they're like, who brought the big guy? And right. But I'm really stubborn and I train really hard and I never quit. And that's my asset, right? I'm just a diesel engine. And I thought it'd be really fun to make a film about this average guy who doesn't have this genetic endurance pedigree finishing this big old race. Right. And I headbutted a bridge.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I thought, because as I'm watching, I'm like, so they were filming it in 2015, and then obviously you didn't know what was going to happen, and then the documentary ends up becoming something else entirely, because now it's more about the comeback and the setback and the comeback. Okay. So 2015, you're going up a bridge. You're going down a bridge or up a bridge? Down a bridge. Down.
So we're on the backside of the mountain. There's a bunch of really deep, gorgeous gorges, big twisting switchbacks, and this big long So it's climb, then a big long downhill. And we were going down through, we'd gone through the third gully. There's these great big Jurassic Park looking gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
See
really
off into
beautiful.
nowhere. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous. And yeah, I was just ripping, and I was 10th overall. I had just passed Adam Fox and Peter Hudson, and Peter and I were just chatting it up a little bit. And I just put my head down and put the hammer to it. And I was chasing number 9. I could see his crew van was getting closer and closer. And because you start to recognize, because the crew vans leapfrog the athletes, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the crew van, once you go by, they wait 10 minutes and then they zip ahead and they wait for you. And we all do that. And you start to recognize different crew vans as you start passing people. And yeah, I just had the hammer down, and I was going about 40 miles an hour, just under 70K an hour. And I was told later that there was algae on the bridge deck.
Right.
And we just know kinetically that my wheel slid out to the right, because from the damage, we know that I put my left hand down, right? Because I don't remember anything, but
of course
I sprained my fingers, I sprained my wrist, I busted my radius bone in 3 pieces. I shattered my shoulder in 4 pieces. I broke 5 ribs. And then I just started to cartwheel, and I didn't have my helmet strap up done tightly because I didn't like the way it felt.
Oh,
I know, right? So stupid. Do your friggin' helmet up. Anyway, my helmet spun while I cartwheeled down the highway. And then at one point I smashed my knee and tore my MCL and took a big chunk out of my my main piece of cartilage there on the femoral head. And as I spun around, I flipped backwards, and I hit my skull backwards against the concrete curb, and I broke my skull open. And that was a whoops. And I had split my eyebrow wide open, and I shaved off my ear. Like my whole side of my face and my ear was like missing several layers of skin. I had raspberries and bruises everywhere. It was quite the, but if you can picture driving down the highway in a convertible at 40 and just get out.
Yeah.
It doesn't go well.
That's basically what that is. And you have, I mean, yeah, you don't have any padding at all, right? Like other than your shorts that are padded in the crotch, like
that's right.
That's like the only thing that's not
protecting much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you got road rash, but you
got a chunk of styrofoam on your head.
Yeah, you go into a bridge. Now your neck, they thought it was broken, but your neck wasn't broken, right?
Correct. I had really bad whiplash. They were worried about my neck, but I had bad whiplash, but that was it.
But so they airlift you to the other island, right? They had Oahu, and so your buddy went with you because your son was there, and it was just going to be too much for her to go. And then so you wake up like a couple of days later, right?
Yeah. The crash Saturday afternoon. I woke up Monday night,
and they kind of filled you in, obviously, what had happened. I'm assuming that when you woke up, you realized that something bad had happened, obviously.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because so I woke up and you have that moment of like, where the hell am I? And I look, and Lyle jumps out of his chair, and my first thought was, can we still finish the race? But just the look in his eyes, I'm like, nope. So then, you say, where am I? What happened? And he explains it all, whatever. I found out later that was like the 7th or 8th time that had played out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not in that specific race, but just in general, in the history of the race.
No, in that moment. So in the hospital on the Monday.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you were talking about the crash.
No. I had woken up and said, where the hell are we? And he told me what happened like 7 or 8 times.
Oh, wow.
But it was interesting because Lyle had started to lie to the nurses. And like they would come to give me another shot of morphine or whatever. And he'd lie. He'd go, oh, somebody already gave him his dose. He's good. He already had it. Somebody else was just here. Maybe she forgot to write it down. He would lie to them, and then they would stop giving me all these crazy drugs, these pain meds, right? And then he says, because you would just start to be intelligent and you would ask me what happened, and then we would have a conversation, and then they'd give you these drugs, and then we're right back to square one.
Okay.
So he did that, and he actually got me like a Starbucks whatever ice frappuccino or something, and it sharpened me up, and then so I started to come around, and
Okay.
I jokingly say my hard drive started to record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you go through that, and obviously I feel like, okay, like I said, I will never, don't say never, but I'm probably never going to do an Ironman. I'll do I'm training for a couple marathons right now, but that's about the extent of what I'm going to do. But
And
I
that's
feel
okay.
like, yeah. I mean, I just got different stuff going on. But I feel like I can connect with you in this way, in that I bet, like, how long, once you like woke up and started talking, where you're like, all right, well, when can I start training for the next one?
Minutes.
Right.
It was minutes. It was
Yeah.
like, we literally made a live video from the hospital, and I was like, in the video, I said, yeah, I'm a little banged up, but we'll race again. I need a couple weeks and I'll start training again. Like,
Right.
there was never a hesitation of like, yeah, I'll get back at this.
I love it.
Yeah. And that's, so I have ADHD. My son has ADHD and autism. He's a fantastic kid, so he comes by it honestly. But one of the greatest books I read on ADHD was A Hunter in a Farmer's World. And I really feel like that. I feel like I'm a hunter in a farmer's world, and I need the hunt.
Right.
People like me, endurance athletes, people that compete in any form. It doesn't matter whether it's bodybuilding, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anything. We need that. We need at least a hit of that hunter's experience. And I remember being on Team Canada at the ITU World Championships in Holland, and laying on the table in the med tent, because I had just gutted myself, right, for the race with my flag on my back and whatever. And my wife was talking to me, and because I'd thrown up and nearly passed out at the end because I pushed myself to exhaustion. And I said to her, I said, that's it. I'm done with this. I'm not doing any more long triathlons ever again. And she's like, oh, good. Because she was really worried about me at that race, right? This is back in 2008 or 9, 8, I think. And then I was talking to one of my buddies from Team Canada, and we started talking about a half Ironman the next summer. And he goes, yeah. I said, yeah, I think I'm going to sign up for that one too. My wife's like, I thought you just, I said, well, half Ironman's not long. And it's just within it, no time at all. I had signed up for Ironman Canada 2010. And then the next year I did Ultraman. Like, you can't, it's stupid to try and say, I'll never do this again. Cause you're gonna.
I get it, man. I get, like, I've slipped discs, I've herniated things, I pulled, hamstrings, broken toes, and, just all these, and it's just like, okay, well, I can't do maybe this one thing that I normally do, but I could do all these other things right now. So I'll just do all those other things until this injury heals up. And then I'll be back at, like, I'm not going to stop. Like, like your wife, my girl would just be like, just relax for just let your body recover. I'm like, but like, I can't, like, you don't understand. Like, there's just this thing where we're just like, no, like, yeah, this is going to set me back, but like, I could still do this, and then, okay, so then so you're in your almost deathbed, not your deathbed, but you're like, okay, I'm going to get back out there. And then you begin the rehab, you get reunited with everybody, which also, just a little side note, I loved how there was such solidarity, and like all these people that continued the race, like your friends and people wearing your shirt, and like, just like, I mean, I was just like watching this, like, I don't know if I have any friends that, like, if I was running a marathon and then I couldn't do it, they'd be like, oh yeah, we'll finish it for you, dude. Not one of my friends is going to do that.
Yeah. It was amazing. Like, Scotty James wasn't even training. He was just volunteering, and he ran like a whole marathon with my jersey on. And then he gave a shirt to Beth Brewster, and she finished it in my honor.
That's
like,
right.
It's just, it's like when one of our own hurts, right? It's Ohana is huge. Ohana means family. It's a big part of that race. Like, we all help each other. Like, I remember one year in 2013 at the Worlds, one of the athletes, their crew van blew an alternator, and another crew just ran double duty
Wow.
and facilitated 2 athletes for 4 hours while that crew went and got their alternator fixed and got back in the game. And I mean, technically you're competing against each other, but nobody cares. Like,
Right.
you know, in 2018, I blew a front tire and Jeremy Howard gave me Garav's tire from his crew. Like, I was beating his athlete and he gave me his athlete's spare front tire so I could keep going. Like, that's
Right.
just what you do. And of course, we do the same thing. Like, whatever you need, here you go. Like, we're here. It's all of us want all of us to do our best and then just see what happens. Nobody cares who's first or second. Maybe the
Right.
first or second, third people do, but
Yeah, that's the sense I got. And that's something that I think, having not seen the film, would not have known. Because as a competitor, which I am, like I played baseball and everything, like, you know, your competition's your enemy. Like,
right.
we might be friends when the game's over, but when we're between the lines, like, we're competing, you know. But I didn't get that sense from the entire community, which, you know, if there's 40 people, it kind of makes sense because it's just you guys, you know.
Yeah.
But I did that was really inspiring to see how everyone just kind of comes together and helps everybody out. Like, I thought that was really cool.
100%. And it's like, I want to race you at your best while I'm at
Right.
my best.
Right.
And me beating you because your van had a flat tire. No. That's not
Right.
like, let's take care of the van and you and I will just do our, like, it's different. Everybody wants everybody to do well. Like, it's a different, and that's why I wanted to make a film. I wanted to show that Ohana, that family, that
Yeah.
support. Like, people are amazing. Ultra distance people are amazing. Nobody's in it for money. They're in it because they love it. They love the sport, and we just love to help each other out. And
Yeah,
it's
I
different.
got that. That was really cool, especially, like, you know, at a time. I mean, I don't know how things are in Canada, but in the United States, you can say there's some division that goes on. So so to see, like, the fact that, like, okay, like, yeah, there is that, but there are still people that root for each other for no other reason. Like, because there's people from different countries. Like, you guys are from all over the world.
Yeah.
And there's just unity, and that was really nice for me to see, especially like after the year we've all had and just everything. Like, it was, like I said, it's really cool. So
it's humans being. It's beautiful. Like, I don't, like, everybody pulls together, and like, there's people from Slovenia and South America and USA and Canada and Australia and Britain. It doesn't matter. We're just humans. And yeah, I'm sorry, but my country's just as friggin' nuts as yours right now. It is. And it's like, everything is designed to pull us apart and make us fight. It's like, just stop it already. We're all tired of this.
Yeah, I didn't mean to get into, but I mean, it's nice to see that, like, when you look past some of that there is so much good that can come, and we do have, you know, things that can bring us together. Like I love, you know, and I love going to, like, a concert or like a sporting event, right? Because that's one of the things where it's like, you have, you know, 50,000 people or more from all walks of life. But if Justin Turner hits a home run, like, we're all best friends for, you know, 10 seconds. Or if Justin Timberlake is singing, like, there's 20,000 of us singing together. And, like, that's all that in that moment. Like, it's just the beauty of that. And it's like, I wish there was more of that being shown, instead of, you know, hey, this person believes this, and this person believes this, and this person slept. It's like, okay, like, let's just show more love and unity. And I don't know.
Stop trying to split us apart and make us, like, that's one of the things I love about traveling is people are amazing. Like, I've been to, I don't know, probably 15 different US states, and people are great in every single one of them. And I've been to Mexico,
15,
something like that.
All right, wait till you go to the rest of them. I'm kidding.
No, come on.
I'm kidding. No,
I've never sat down and counted them up, but it's quite a few. And it's probably more than 15. Actually, you know what? It would be more than 15. But anyway, people like, people
there's
awesome. Like,
I mean, like, I travel my country and Canada for my job, and it's like, there's so many and that's what I love about stand-up, and maybe what you probably love about racing is, like, getting to go to some of these places that I probably would never go to, you know. Like, I would never, no offense, guys, but, like, I wouldn't just look at Wichita, Kansas on a map and be like, oh, I'm going to go there. Or, you know, Tulsa, Oklahoma, or wherever. But then you go and like you meet people and you eat some food and you're like, yeah, there's some cool people here. This is a cool place, right?
They're people. Yeah.
Yeah.
People. Yeah. I've been to New York, Florida, Louisiana, North Dakota. Then people are just people. California, they're just people. Everywhere I go, people are people, and they're great. Politicians scare the crap out of me, but people are awesome.
True. Very true.
They are. It's great.
Okay. So you start to mount your comeback, right? You're on your you're not, I say, and I mean near almost deathbed, because you did almost die. And you're already like, yeah, I'm going to race back out there. You know, you start the recovery, you're going to physical therapy, all these things, you're getting your skull put together. Like, okay, first of all, like how do they, when you break your skull, like you don't wear like a skull cast, do you?
No, they used metal staples. That's the only thing I remember between Saturday and Monday. I would have swore on a stack of Bibles that some guy had a size 12 combat boot on my head and a Hilti bolt gun. Like that's the only thing I remember screaming murder when they bolted my skull. That friggin' hurt. That's the only thing I remember between Saturday and Monday. It was them stapling my friggin' skull plate. Ugh.
And then does it just, I mean, I'm very ignorant to this, knock on wood. Thankfully, I haven't broken my skull. Like, so they staple it and then it just kind of mends on its own,
Just
basically.
Yeah.
It's like a broken bone with a cast, but they just use staples instead.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
It healed. I got a nice big fat scar, but I have to
really?
when I shave my head, but
oh no.
Okay. Any other bone, it heals.
So you start to mount your comeback. Obviously, you're going through physical therapy and everything. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to start training again. And then in training, you messed up your hand. You broke, I know you dislocated your finger, but it looked a lot worse in the video. Like it was bleeding and you said you could see like your ligaments and stuff. So like, did you break the skin? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I gloved it right down to the ligaments. So I basically, they call it a gloving injury. Basically, you peel all of the skin back and expose the bone and the ligaments. So yeah, that sucked. There was so many hurdles. So in 2017, I was trying to run again and build up to an iron distance to do Ironman Coeur d'Alene. And every time I ran past 90 minutes coming on 2 hours, my knee would swell up and ache and I had trouble walking. And then I discovered through just a goofball accident that we were messing around playing a game and I got knocked over and my MCL, my medial collateral ligament, tore free from the cartilage because it had repaired itself with a fibrous bridge after the crash, and we didn't realize that. We didn't know why, because my physio was stumped and everybody was, I don't understand why your knee is so sore. And because my MCL and the cartilage had healed as one piece. So that ligament wasn't moving. So it accidentally got ripped free, which then I had to go have knee surgery. So they had to shave off this big piece of cartilage and they had to clean up the MCL and everything. And like that. And then, so then I finished Ironman Coeur d'Alene in enough time to apply, which I was very excited. And so, and that was, I think 5 or 6 weeks post knee surgery that is Ironman Coeur d'Alene,
that's insane.
I didn't think that was going to go as well as it. I went from 6-8 weeks of no running. Right. I built myself a 6-week program where I had 3 weeks where I wasn't allowed to run post-op. And then I had 3 weeks and I trained in 3 weeks. I trained for a half marathon and I thought, well, I guess I'll do a half marathon and then the rest will just be what it is. And I managed it. And I think I had, 4 or 5 minutes to spare on my pre-qualifying time to finish Ironman Coeur d'Alene to qualify to apply. But then, like you said, so I got that put behind me, and it's awful to watch the video because I was like 237 pounds because with all the surgeries and the emotion, I was eating like an idiot. Right. I got all fat and out of shape. And
you made a vlog post about that. You're like, I'm fat. I'm not happy.
Yeah, I was really grumpy. And so then anyway, I was like, all right. So I took all the things I know how to do because I coach people for nutrition, for God's sakes. So I started coaching myself for nutrition. And I dropped 40 pounds and I pulled back down to 190. And I think 194, whatever like that. And everything was going well again. I was training super hard, and I got to triathlon training camp in Arizona in end of February, early March. And I was still having issues with my brain knowing where my hands and feet were in space. There was like 100th of a second delay.
Oh, really?
Right? As it's just a leftover from the crash. And I was doing all these things, they call them Stroop tests. There's all these things where you'll have a whole list of words, color words on a board, and like it'll say red, but it's blue, and it'll say green, but it's yellow. And so you have to either say the color or say the word or alternate every row, or like there's all these things you have to do, right? And you got to look at a lighted pen and follow with your eyes, and you got to close one eye and close the other eye, literally stand on one leg and do all these things to try and make your brain connect again, because it was broken. I had a really bad brain injury. So I had done all this kind of stuff, but there was still a bit of a delay. And I used to trip all the time when I was trail running. So it was the last day of tri camp, and I was sprinting down this mountain, chasing a couple of elites and pros, trying to keep up with them, as you do. And we were just coming around a corner, and there was just some loose rock, and I caught a toe and I tripped. And where I put my fingers down, there was just a bunch of loose rock, and I folded 6 fingers back, and I gloved one of them and completely dislocated the finger till the bones were beside each other, and dislocated another finger. So yeah, it sucked. I was so friggin' mad. And that was 2018. So yeah, I had to go to the hospital. I had to reattach the fingers, so and all that. I was so mad. And fingers do not heal fast. Their blood vessels are so small. They took forever. I still can't close my right hand all the way. I have to force it. Like it doesn't close all the way.
Yeah, I've broken my pinky, and it's still like, same. Like it doesn't, I don't know. It never fully, I don't know. Maybe because we're old too. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a piece of, but fingers, they don't get a lot of blood flow. The blood vessels they're like literally one blood cell wide. So they just heal really slowly. So I went to hand therapy clinic for ages, and I see physio once a week. And now physio's down to once every 3 weeks now, but
you're still going.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
So what was this thing? So I know they gave you like some kind of like a device to kind of help you in the rehab, but like it didn't fit on your timeline. So
that was my fingers.
Yeah. So you made up something else to kind of speed it up. Which I thought was great, because you're like, that timeline doesn't work for me. So I'm going to figure something else out. And then you made like your own contraption or something, right?
So at the hand therapy clinic, so what happened was, my hand was in a cast for 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
The finger reattached and everything. And then they take the cast off. Well, now your fingers are permanently curved. The ligaments are frozen curved. So I couldn't straighten my hands, right? I couldn't hold on to a bike handlebar. I couldn't swim, right? So they're like, oh yeah, we'll give you the thing. So they heat molded this plastic finger thing, and then they put it on and they Velcroed all of this stuff. And they're like, that'll stretch your fingers out. We'll slowly straighten it. And I was like, okay, well, how long that'll take? She said, take about 6 months to get your fingers to straight. We'll slowly do a little bit every day. And I was like, 6 months. And she said, yeah. And then once they're straight, then we'll spend 6 months getting them to bend again. And I was like, okay, I'm on a different timeline than you are. So I went and I bought some aluminum braces. They've got like foam glued to one side, like finger splints. And I basically put them on the back of my finger. And then I just took some duct tape and I just wrapped it super tight until the finger was straight. And I did that with my 3 fingers. I just duct taped them straight, and it hurt like holy crap. I couldn't sleep for 2 or 3 nights because the pain was ridiculous, even with painkillers. But I went back a week later. They were just like, you did what? But my fingers were straight. I'm like, they're straight. Can we start bending them now? I see you're 6 weeks. I give you 1 week.
Right. That's
6 months. Yeah.
That's so, I feel like that kind of goes to where like to being an endurance athlete, right? Especially like ultras and all that, is a lot of it is mental, right? like,
Be comfortable with pain.
Yeah, like you train, you're never gonna feel great, especially once you get going, right? Like something's always going to be ailing, and it's just a matter of, I mean, essentially, as cliche as it sounds, mind over matter, right?
It is.
Conquering it, just, as David Goggins would say, not being a little bitch, and like just like in the way he talks, but like that's what it is. It's right. It's I know I'm in pain, but I have to do this, and I'm gonna push past it, and that's really what it is. It's like we talk about it all the time, but like, the human body can actually do a lot, but it's more the brain that tells us, hey, this hurts, this is uncomfortable, let's stop. But for you guys, it's like, well, no, we can't stop because you still got 100 more miles to go. And so that's kind of, I feel like with your fingers and all these things, it's just like, yeah, well, I'm in pain, but I also have this thing to do. So I'm just going to figure this out and ignore the pain or manage it, I guess, and just keep going. Right.
Yeah, 100%. And it's in every sport. It's in life. The big question is, are you willing? Are you willing to be that uncomfortable? And like it's no different than last year when COVID hit and they said shut down your gym, and okay, we were to do all this online stuff, and I was designing online this and online that, and we were making videos and we were doing all these stupid things. And then I stopped and I did the math and I went, Scotty, this never works. There's no chance you can keep this 15,000 square foot building paid for during this. And I knew it wasn't 14 days to flatten the curve. I thought it was going to be 6 months, but whatever. I knew it was not going to work. And so in 2 days, I was like, pulled my staff together, said, okay, guys, we're shutting her down. And I announced it to the world, and we sold off all our equipment, paid off all our debts, and paid off all our members. And we just walked away. And you have to be willing to do that kind of crap. And this is the same. Like if you want to be a power lifter, or you want to be a Spartan athlete, or you want to run a marathon, it doesn't matter. You have to be willing to be so freaking uncomfortable. It's awful for a short period. And that's endurance athletics. Like the reason I'm successful at Ultraman is because I will outsuffer you. Yeah. I won't quit when it's awful. And like, it's funny because you watch the film and you look at it, like in an average Ultraman double marathon, I'll lose 7 toenails. Like there's a time where it's happened a couple of times, but after the first marathon's done, because it's 100 Fahrenheit, it's 30 odd degrees Celsius. So there's asphalt and black lava. Like it's there's no shade. It's relentless. You're pouring water down your head. Well, that travels down to your feet. It makes blisters. And so at the first marathon, we pull off my shoes and we take off my gross socks and we clean my feet and we lube them up and we put on dry socks and a fresh pair of shoes, right? It's mental as anything, but it helps you get through. But the problem becomes that my feet won't fit in the fresh shoes, even though I've worn them before, because all of my toes have blisters. So then the guys have a razor blade and they cut open all the blisters, and then they coat it in a salve, right? An anti-infection thing. And then I put my socks on, and I'm here to tell you, it hurts like trucker language swear, right? It hurts. But whatever, you put your shoes on and you stand up and it's like, oh, razor blades, hey, okay. And you just start friggin' running, and it hurts, but you're like, well, it's not going to get worse. Like it, I know what it is. So whatever. And off you go. And you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. Yeah.
Have you ever read the book Relentless by Tim Grover? Yep. That's the thing. It's comfortable being uncomfortable, man. Like that book is like my Bible. But
I coach a lot of athletes and I coach a lot of regular, normal, average people to fat loss. And you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. And that can be saying no to ice cream when you're at your friend's house and everybody's having ice cream. That can be the uncomfortable you have to deal with. Yeah. Or it can be running for 100 miles, or it doesn't matter, whatever it is. At some point, if you really want something, you're gonna have to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go through the setbacks, you're rehabbing, you make it back to ultra, right? Woo! And you get there, you swim, you don't throw up, which everyone was shocked at. And now that we learned,
so good.
And then you you were cutting it close to the cut, right? The second day, right? They
Day
cut,
2.
yeah, they cut X because you have to get like under 12 hours. Is that right?
Yeah. So in 2018, the volcano blew, right?
Oh,
And so
okay.
a whole big section of the traditional course was under 100 feet of lava.
That's right. So they altered the course,
So they
right?
altered the course. So instead of going around the perimeter of the island, we went up and over Saddle Mountain Road, which is the equivalent of cycling halfway up Everest.
Oh God.
There's 14,000 vertical feet of climbing on day 2. It was crushingly hard. And it was blue sky day, like relentless heat and high winds. Although the winds could have been way worse. I've seen them way worse. But out of the top 40 athletes in the world, 14 people didn't make it on day 2 because
Right.
it was really, really hard. That's one of those times where I had to go to the depths of hell, like to just blinding discomfort where
Yeah.
everything is just a raw nerve and you just hurt and every cell in your body wants to just friggin' stop and you don't. You go
Right.
faster because you have to.
Now, is this too, while you were doing this, is this when you were also trying to like you couldn't keep anything, like you knew you needed fuel, but you couldn't eat anything, and they were like playing around with different, like, you got like, I know like when I run, super long, you get like the goos and stuff like that, but like
Yeah.
nothing was working, right?
We call it the food lottery. So in the back of the van, we have a couple rows of those plastic cheap drawers, right? Like they've got like you get them at Walmart. They got like a white frame and just like a clear plastic drawer.
Yeah.
And there's like 6 drawers and they all have different food. They're like, this is the planned food. This is the healthy planned food. And then this is the sort of healthy food. And then this is chocolate bars. And then this is crap. And this is like DEFCON 4. And you just keep trying stuff. And your body just goes, nope, 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 until you find something that says yes. Yeah. And
So
like,
when the body says no, are you like, I'm sorry to get graphic, but like, are you throwing it up, or do you
you're
just
gonna,
not, you just can't put it down, or?
it's a combination. So like
Okay.
you'll get it in, but your body's like, I'm gonna puke. Okay, no more.
Okay, got
Like
it.
just that overwhelming feeling. So I was just plain water for maybe 2 hours, which there's no calories in water,
No.
right? And you're dumping calories out hard. Like my Garmin showed me at the end of day 2 that year, my net calories, I was negative 6,000.
Negative 6,000.
Negative 6,000. And I had eaten 5,000.
So you're burning 11,000 calories roughly.
A day. Yeah,
per
because I was
day.
just under 12 hours at max effort. Like
Wow.
you're just pouring it out there. It's hard.
And the thing that got it was a chocolate shake.
It was a chocolate milkshake, which I never would have predicted. But my buddy Darren, he had just bought a chocolate milkshake at the donut shop and he was drinking it for him. But he's that guy. He knows. He's like, here, try this. Because we know that's the rule. Try this.
Yeah.
And I took a sip and I'm like, oh my sweet Jesus, what is this? And I just drained the thing, just drained it. And all of a sudden, I had booster engines again. And I just got on the bike and I was just smashing the pedals. I was like 27 miles an hour uphill. Like it was just insane. I just in the rain and the wind, and I started passing traffic. I just all of a sudden it was the 1-2 of, look, I know I need to go, plus my body has some fuel somehow, and I just went for it.
And then you finish, and this is a part that, I mean, I got emotional, but like just seeing you cry and hug your friends when you finish, when you make the cut that second day, like just the emotion, and like you can't, I'm sorry guys, but if you watch it, you're gonna cry. I'm just telling you now. Like it was just, it got me, man, because it's like I can't imagine. I usually I can imagine, but in this instance, I'm like, I actually can't imagine. Like
it was huge, because for a lot of people came back to that race in 2018 because they knew I was coming, and they were there that day that I almost died.
Yeah.
And it was this unfinished thing for them too. And like you got a picture on the day 2, it's dark out. It's not it gets cold fast, right? In end of November when the sun goes down.
Right.
And there's like this circle of like 40 people just waiting for me to come in. And they've some of the athletes, they've already long finished their day and they should be back in their hotel room getting ready for the double marathon, but instead they're standing around waiting for me. And that was crazy emotional. And obviously my buddy Lyle, like, when he came around the corner in 2015, he thought I was dead.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was huge. The look on his face. Oh, that's a hug for the ages.
Yeah, it really was, man. Like, I'm sensitive though, so like I cry at all kinds of stuff. But watching this, I was like, oh man, dude, like, and then so at that point, you still have to run 2 more marathons in a row. Like you make
that's the next day.
Yeah, you make the cut and everything, and you're like, there's obviously a sense of relief and celebration to an extent, but knowing like there's the first time. I mean, there's not a lot of times when people can be like happy that they're about to run 52 miles the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at that point, you knew that because there's not a time that you have to run the marathon by, right? You can kind of
12 hours.
Oh, there is. It's 12. Okay. See, I didn't know this. Okay. So you still have to run within 12 hours, 2 marathons, which is
on a normal day, fine, right?
Right. Yeah, but not after all the everything.
Not after all the crap we've just done, right? That's the thing, right? And that's the thing. Like normally day 2 doesn't gut me like that. Like normally day 2, I'm about 9.5 hours, but this was 11.5 hours. Like it was an extra 2.5 hours of gut-wrenching effort. So yeah, your tank is empty. Like, but that's the cool thing. Like the human body is way more incredible than we give it credit for.
I tell people that all the time, but I mean, honestly, Scott, like people are not going to listen to us. They're like, yeah, right. I'm like, no, I'm serious. Like you can, like you said, there's so many different facets of it. You can be a power lifter. You can be a bodybuilder. You could be an endurance athlete. You can just look good in pictures and like have that be your journey. Like it's whatever it is, man. Like, so you finish, you do it, like, and then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do that again.
Yep. Maybe not tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe not tomorrow or the day after, but like I'm gonna do this again. And so is it at this point for you? Is it just like, I mean, I know you love it, obviously, but is it so? Because I'm in this boat where like I still play baseball with a lot of my guys that I played with since like high school and college and stuff. Like we still play because we can,
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it is for me. It's like, well, I can still play and I love it, so I'm gonna keep doing it. Is that kind of where you're at this point?
Yeah. There's whisperings of, I wonder if this will be my last year at Ultraman. That I've had that thought. But I come to it from as long as it doesn't detrimentally hurt, I want to keep doing it because I enjoy it. Like,
I feel like it hurts a lot though.
It's uncomfortable. There's a difference between you're wrecking things and this is hard. I don't mind this is hard. I don't want to wreck things, but I don't mind this is hard. Okay, cool. Yeah. If you're destroying something that's permanent, okay, maybe that's not a good idea. But if it's just hard, I'm not afraid of hard. I like hard. Hard makes me better. It makes me stronger. I miss it when it's gone.
So I know you shut down your gym and everything, which unfortunately, like a lot of gyms everywhere, especially in your country, in my country, they had no choice but to close, obviously, like permanently. So you kind of pivoted into like speaking and stuff like that now at this point?
Yeah. So I do keynote speeches. I'm writing for a couple magazines, which is great. And then I run a 21-day nutrition detox online, as well as a 6-week challenge, both heavy nutrition based. And I give daily mindset videos. So every morning at 5 a.m., you can watch it whenever you want, but you get a daily mindset video loaded from me on all things from, like nutrition basics or nutrition nuances, or um like what happens physiologically in your body when you exercise, but a lot of it is psychological, how to overcome the challenges of the psychological bit. So I cover a whole bunch. So in the 21, obviously I've got 21 different videos. So every day is a different video to motivate, inspire, and teach. And then in the 6 week, then it's another different 42-day videos. So I love it. I get to do that. I've got 2 groups running at the same time. I run them every month. So at the start of every month, I run a program, which is really great because I love being able to coach people. And I've got a couple of keynote speeches coming up. I do lots of stuff on Zoom, and podcasts, and yeah, I've got lots on the go. It's fun.
Can you give us just tell us like where they can find them in case people want to look for them online? We'll put it in the show notes too, but some people don't know how to use show notes. So
yeah. No, it's easy. www.scottyfit.com will take you to my website. So scottyfit.com. And then that takes you to the website to link to see the movie, which I've made free. We were charging, we had a it was $10 US to watch it. And after a while, I'm like, this is stupid. I mean, yeah, did we spend a ton of money on the film, and do I need to make money to go to Ultraman this year? Yeah, but I just want people to watch the movie. So whatever. So I just changed it, made it free, and now more people are watching it. So
I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it too.
Yeah.
I think people, I think like we were talking about kind of is like at a time when there's so much, even though we're almost done with this whole thing, like just division, it's just cool to see. Like, I think a lot of people could just benefit from watching, and there's just so many good things about it.
100%.
So the more people that can see it, the better, I think.
Absolutely. The world needs more of this kind of stuff.
I agree.
I just need it to be free. So I put a little link, like there's a button you can go to if you feel like making a PayPal. You want to say, hey, that was great. Here's $5. Great. But you don't have to. It's
got
great.
it. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to ask you these questions are going to be a little bit tougher really quick. Cool. Just a couple.
Yeah.
So I guess, we could speak on this. You can speak probably just as an endurance athlete, but maybe as a business owner as well. You can take a pick. But what's the one thing you wish you would have known when you started your career?
Started my career. I've had several careers. I've had architecture, and I've had my gym career. One of the things I wish I would have known starting my career.
Like I said, we could do it if you want to just speak on it as an endurance athlete. You can do it that way. If that's easier.
For the gym business, I would say pay yourself right away fairly. Like for so many years, I didn't pay myself, and then I paid myself for a while, and then I stopped paying myself, and there's just nothing good about that. Like there's nothing good. Having lost the business, nobody cared that I hadn't drawn a paycheck for 3 years.
Right.
Nobody cares. They don't. It is not relevant. And so you think you're being some superhero by not getting a paycheck so that your staff are taken care of. They don't care. They're unaware.
Right.
So pay yourself.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go with who are 3 people that have been most influential in your life?
Oh, that's a great question. 3 big influential people in my life. So many good people. My best friend, one of my best friends, Darren Thompson, has been tremendously influential to me.
The PERFORMA guy?
The guy that owns PERFORMA. He's been one of my best friends for a long time, and he's a fantastic human being.
He's a great guy.
He is, yeah. I'm going to say there used to be this guy, T. Harv Eker, who was a self-help guy. He was like Tony Robbins, but short and Canadian. He's been fantastically huge. He's had a profoundly huge effect on my life.
What's his name again?
T. Harv Eker. He's all retired now from
D. Harv Eker.
T stands for the.
T. Got it. T.
That was his reminder to himself that he's the only Harv Eker there is.
Hilarious.
T. Harv Eker. Yeah.
Got it.
T. Harv Eker. I'd be an idiot if I didn't mention my wife. She's been amazing. She's been with me through, we were college sweethearts, and she's put up with a lot, and she drives me crazy, but I love her to bits. So
yeah,
she's been with me for some crazy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I just from watching, like I said, the film, I could see like, it's kind of I can draw parallels a little bit. Like, it probably takes a special type of person to put up with like you being an endurance athlete, because like you said, there's gonna be a lot of times when you're gone, a lot left on her. You got to get your training in, so she's probably got to watch, the kid and take care of all that stuff while you're out being Superman. So yeah, it's a special type of person that has to partner with.
It is. And it's part of being married is realizing that I'm the best husband I can be when I'm an endurance athlete.
Yeah.
And so my wife sings in an all ladies a cappella group called Sweet Adeline. So that
What?
A cappella.
I know, it's from Pitch Perfect.
I know. What? I wasn't sure if you knew. I was like, did you just reference Pitch Perfect? Okay.
100%.
100%. Perfect. Yeah. So she does all that stuff. And so I put up, like, I shouldn't say put up with, I support her. I just about blew it. I support her rehearsals and her travel for her competitions and because I know she's happiest when she does that. So there's a couple times a week, there's where I make sure that I am not working. So I take care of my son. I do the whole evening and she's free to go off with her girls and do her thing. And she knows, so I know that she's her happiest when she gets to do that. So I support her, and she knows I'm the happiest when I get to it. Like, I've had times when I've come home from work and she'd be like, "Hey, how are you?" And she's like, "You should go for a run." "I'm supposed to go for a run. I don't have time to go for a run." She's like, "You really need to go for a run." And I was like, "Well, you're probably right." And I put on my stuff and I go out for a run and I come back 10K later and I bounce in the door and she's like, "Hey." I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" She's like, "Yeah, there's my husband." Like, so she knows that sometimes endurance athletics makes me sane.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
It's my outlet. So yeah. Long answer to a short question.
No, that's great. Okay. Let's go with endurance, because this is just fascinating. What's one common myth that you would like to debunk about endurance athletes?
Holy cow. There's tons of them. Big old bowl of pasta the night before a race. Dumbest idea in the world.
Yeah, that's not a thing anymore, right? That was like such old school.
Oh my gosh. I know people that still do it. And if you sign up for a race and they have a carb load dinner, it's friggin' pasta. It's the dumbest thing in the world. That's a big one. I'll go with that one.
So what do you eat the night before?
So I carb load 3 days in advance because it takes one night to but I have my Coach Scotty's magic formula, which is white rice, like minute rice, because you do not want fiber because that means pooping.
Yep.
Right. So white rice with cashews and honey, and you stir it up, and it's the last thing I eat before I go to bed, and it just fills your muscles with glycogen and it makes you ready to rock, and it's easy to digest.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a bunch of fiber.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then let's go one more. What advice would you give someone wanting to pursue this lifestyle of yours?
Like ultra distance events and stuff like that?
Sure. Yeah.
Or speaking in podcasts is a whole different world. Ultra distance stuff. The best advice I would give somebody, I actually have to give this to my athletes all the time, is because I coach endurance athletes too, is beware of the terrible twos. Too much, too soon, too hard, too fast.
Yeah.
People want to go 1,000 miles an hour all the time, and you can't. You have to build a whole transition. You got to have a transmission. You got to have all the different speeds. Like, there's going to be like your slow days need to be slow. Your fast days need to be fast. Your hill days need to be hard as hell. Your easy recovery days need to be recover. When I tell you to take a week off, take a freaking week off. Like, like endurance athletes are a funny breed. You give them 2-3 light days, they panic and go smash a big session.
Right.
I'm losing all my fitness. No, you're not.
Yeah. But we do think like that though, right? Like, you think like, I mean, like I said, I work out all the time, and it's like this thing where it's like, I know I'm supposed to take rest days, but then on that rest day, you're just like, I'm missing out on my gains today. But like, that's the thing. It's like, you do, you have to trust the work that you've already put in, know that your body needs the rest. And especially like in an endurance events, the important thing is making it to race day healthy, right?
Yeah.
Or at least as healthy as possible, not injure yourself.
Yeah, like Joel Friel was one of the first in the triathlons training Bible back in the day. He's one of the first guys. Well, I don't know who really invented periodization in that true sense, but that whole build, peak, recover, right? A week of build, a week of build, a week of peak, and a week of recover. That recovery week is gold. Yeah. And endurance athletes hate it. They want to go build, peak, build, peak. You can't. Yeah, you're not a robot. Like, that's not how that works.
Do you have a favorite superhero, Scott?
Oh, that's a fun conundrum. Wolverine, because I would love the ability to heal from anything.
Yeah, right.
And Spider-Man, because he's just friggin' cool.
Okay. Yeah. Like a combination of Wolverine and who would be a combination of Wolverine? They should have a kid, right? Yeah. Wolverine and Spider-Man.
That'd be awkward.
I'm trying to think. It would be, but I mean, so is having metal in your body. And
I would probably pick Wolvie just because he just lives. He like gets to basically live forever, and he can recover from anything. Break his bones, no problem.
Okay, so tell our listeners where they can connect with you online, sir.
Sure. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Scotty Fit Sylvan is usually where that comes up. But if you go,
what is it?
Scotty Fit Sylvan.
Scotty Fit Sylvan.
Sylvan. So Sylvan Lake is where I live. But
got it.
Pretty searchable. And if you go to scottyfit.com,
got it.
You'll find me there. And there's links to my social media stuff there.
Okay, we'll put all the stuff in the show notes. Scott, you've inspired me to not be an ultra, but like to maybe just give people more hugs or something. Like, I don't know. I was so inspired by your story. And it came at a great time, honestly, because like I said, with the world still, we're almost out of it, but there's still some chaos. So it was exactly what I needed. You've inspired me, and I'm sure anyone that hears your story inspired. Hopefully, I'm sure I'll probably meet you at some point, because we're doing this, and I got to go to Edmonton at some point this year, but I look forward to shaking your hand. Like I said, you've inspired me. I appreciate you taking the time to come on the PERFORMA POPcast. Hang on for 1 second when I hit. You guys, thank you so much for listening. This has been the PERFORMA POPcast, and we will see you guys next time.